Hey, good afternoon. It is currently 2:35 p.m. in California here on the 1st of September. So, happy September to everyone. What a whirlwind of a great month August was, and wow, my hat looks very dusty. I'm just very excited and blessed and looking forward to another incredible month doing something that completely brings me so much joy, and I know it brings all of you so much joy too. All right, I want to go ahead and just jump right into this. A lot of you were asking me, because I know I always reference personal development. I'm always talking about educate yourself, find resources, use your resources, go out there and learn the things, do the things, stop waiting for people to spoon feed you information and find it yourself. So I know a lot of you were asking and following up and wanting some of my personal development recommendations. So I went over to my little bookcase that I keep in my office. Some of these I listen to as audiobooks, but I always get a hardback version because I love to loan them out to my team, my downlines, my teammates, people like that. So I love like book swaps and stuff like that. So I do always try to have hard copies. There's a few that I don't have hard copies of, and I'm assuming that's because someone has them right now, which is fine. And then I'll talk about podcasts at the end. All right? So I'm just going to share which books I like. There's a few that I didn't like, and I'll share that too. And then what I use them for, when who I recommend them to on my team, when I recommend a certain book, stuff like that. And I don't have any particular order because it's just kind of a mess. All right? So I should have organized this, but I have a 3:45 appointment today, and I was like, you know what? Whatever. All right. Let's see. I'm going to put the ones I didn't really particularly like there. Okay. Hi, so first one I'm going to start with is my absolute number one most recommended book. Anything you're going to, and this is for anything in life. If you're doing something that involves dealing with people, I don't care if you're behind a computer screen. You don't have to be in sales. I worked, with the government before this in law enforcement, but that was heavy peopling, okay? A lot of people skills. Hospitality, if you work in food, if you work, as a social worker, even if you work in an office setting with other people, the most important thing you can do is learn how to make people like you. If you can get people to like you, if you are a likable person, the world is going to go your way. However, think about it on the flip side. If you are an unlikable person, ain't nobody want to do anything for you. People don't want to join your team. They don't want to buy your product. They don't want to come to your in-home parties. Let's make this Color Street relevant now. No one wants to join your group or your VIP or be in your parties. Some people do. I want you to think about it. We all know someone that is really obnoxious, the kind of person that talks over people, always talks about themselves, doesn't seem to care about other people, kind of doesn't have that social awareness factor. Those people are like steel wool. There's always, everybody has one or a couple in their life where you're like, nope, gonna avoid it. Oh, they're gonna be at the party? Nope, don't want to go. So we want to be the opposite of that person. We want to be the kind of person that attracts people. We want people to be like, whatever she does, I want to do it. Wherever she's going to be, I want to be there. We want people, waiting in line to hang out with us and chat with us. And you can do that by How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's 80 years in print, you guys. It's super, super old. I'm telling you, it is still the most relevant book that you're going to read. And this is what I tell people to start with. Even before leadership, even before enrollment or building a team, this is sales 101, okay? People. We are in the business of loving on and serving people. That's what sales is. We're in the business of loving on and serving people. You have got to know how to be a likable person. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's really true. I think I don't think it's the only book, but I think it's the one you should start with here. It's like how to deal with conflict, how to when someone disagrees with you. Like literally it covers so many things, you guys. I have bought so many versions of this. How to avoid making enemies. Like just really, you guys, there's so many principles in here. First impressions, how to make a good one, things like that. So this is the one that you want to start with. All right, let me find another one, a more beginning one. Okay, another one. A lot of times I hear a lot of people that are overwhelmed. They're like, especially once you hit like the rank of senior stylist, team leader, and director. I think that team leader and director are probably the most stressful times in the business. Because you're still actively trying to build your business and learn the business. You're partying, you're trying to enroll, and you're trying to learn leadership on top of it. And you're not getting paid the executive, the high. I really know that comp level kicks in high when you're hitting executive level. And so I feel like that's when my people get the most stressed and overwhelmed. I love this book. It's called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And if you guys don't know who Brian Tracy is, Pinterest him. He has a website. He's a business tycoon, but he's got the most soothing voice. I love his like the way he does like business calls and mastermind calls, and he has this premise called the hot seat. He has a lot of cool tips and tricks for businesses, but this is a great one if you are overwhelmed and you don't know where to start in your life, and you're like, every day I'm too busy. If you're getting those excuses from people like, I wish I could run a business, I'm just too busy. I can't do parties, I'm too busy. I can't do this, I'm too busy. This really helps them to simplify what matters in their life and in their business and what to drop. Nobody's talking about what we should drop. You can't be adding more things to someone's plate unless they're dropping other things. I really like this version as the audiobook version if you like audiobooks, because he has a very soothing voice. I really like it, and so I highly recommend that one. Next up. Sorry, I have a lot of stuff here. A lot of books here. What is another one? Okay, let's talk about coaching. So this is a book, it's called The Advice Trap. Be humble, stay curious, and change the way you lead forever. I don't know about you, but I had been a leader for, in my other professions, but I had never been a coach. I had never had to go on coaching calls. And the problem is that I could be on a coaching call all day, giving people the answers. They didn't want me to give them the answers. I shouldn't have been talking the whole time. I needed to be listening and understanding what was going on and helping them find their own solutions through asking questions. That's what coaching is. Coaching is not talking at someone. And that was really the only thing I knew to do until I really took the time to discipline myself and learn coaching. So this is by an author called Michael Bungay Stanier. I can't pronounce that, but it's right there. Anyways, this is good. This is not the best one. There's a book that precludes this one. It's blue, okay? And it's called The Coaching Habit. So imagine this book by this author. It just says The Coaching Habit. It's bright blue. That's the one you want. The Coaching Habit gives you 11 questions to ask on every coaching call. And I find myself doing this because I'm very socially awkward. I don't know if any of you are introverts. I struggle to be at in-person events. A room full of women gives me anxiety. In-person events, oh my gosh, so much anxiety. I love the questions that he gives in The Coaching Habit, the blue book, because it just makes me comfortable asking things and I know I'm going to get engagement from people. I'm going to learn about them from these questions. And really, that's what a coaching call should be, is us finding their issues, finding their troubles, asking them what their solutions are. Okay, what else can you think of that we can work through this? Walk me through this problem. So The Coaching Habit was game-changing for me. Game-changing. All right. Another book that I don't currently have here because it is loaned out to someone, but I feel like it's very, very instrumental. And this is one that I would recommend for new leaders. So let's say you have someone that's at senior stylist, team leader. Or I recommend this book if you have a negative Nancy on your team. We all have them. We have several, okay? Maybe they're so qualified. Maybe they are the best, but they just can't get out of their own headspace. And you can't just go on a call and be like, hey, you suck because you're negative. They're never going to be receptive to that. They're never going to be okay with hearing that. No one wants to hear that about themselves. I love recommending The Energy Bus. It's a book by John Gordon. Very small book. This one I love the audiobook version of. It's a very, very, very quick audiobook. It's like 2.5 hours. You could do that in a long hike in the mountains, okay? It is so good that driving home from LA when I bought my son's truck for him, I put it on. I was like, son, this is a game changer. I want you to listen to this. Knowing that he's going into his first work, job and everything. And we stopped for gas. He didn't want to stop listening to it. The whole way home, he was just soaked in. And The Energy Bus is a game changer for new leaders, people that are struggling with negative downlines, or people that themselves tend to be a little bit more pessimistic. or not, negative. Those people are never going to make good leaders unless they can turn it around. And I like it because at first I was like, this is dumb. This is a dumb book. This is a story. I don't need a story. I need something to help me with my business. But the story is the best part. It's a story that illustrates, anyways, it's for beginning leaders, negative Nancy's, or people that are struggling to deal with negative Nancy's. The Energy Bus by John Gordon, 2 thumbs up for me. One I always recommend. And because then you don't have to be like, hey, that's you in the book. You're the negative person I'm talking about. They, trust me, they will see themselves. They'll see their reflection there. Okay? Trust me. The Energy Bus, you don't have to tell someone they're negative. Just have them listen to the book. They're going to love it. They're going to come out so refreshed, but they're also going to recognize themselves in that book. Okay? Next up, this was a game changer for me. I know I talked about it in my enrolling. This is called Go for No. Go for No by Richard Fenton and Andrea Waltz. Go for No is so good. Again, it's a story, and I was reading this on the way to the beach. I'm a very fast reader. And so I was like, well, and I started reading it. I finished it like very fast. I read a lot. But it was a story, and I was like, another story. It was like after the Energy Bus, and I was like, come on, dude. Like, I need to learn here. I need some stats. But get through it. The story illustrates the point of the author, and this has changed the game for my team and the way that we enroll. Everyone's so terrified of failure. They're so afraid to get a no that we're doing our no is literally the way to a yes. The only way you're going to get a yes in sales is if you're going for no's. You have to not only just accept no's, you need to be seeking out the no's and even having a no quota, which is what he talks about here. And he talks about how the best salespeople across the world are not the ones that get the most yeses. I mean, they do, but you know how they get the most yeses? It's because they go for the most no's. They don't stop when they get their yes for that day, because that would be having a yes quota. They have a no quota. Because if you're going for 20 no's and you've called 2 people and you get a yes on your second one, guess what? You're going to stop if you have a 1 yes quota. But he talks about following through, working through objections, following through and building a relationship with someone and asking them 6, 7 times. That's normal. That's normal sales behavior. And so it really changed the game for myself and for our team to understand the dynamics of no is the way to a yes. No's are not negative. Okay? No's are positives. No's just mean not yet. So this is a great one if you're struggling to enroll. If you have people that are afraid of rejection, good one. Really good one. All right. Where's one that I really love so much? Hold on. Oh no. I think I sent it to someone. Well, heck. Let me find it. Let me see if I have it. I don't have it. Okay. This is the second volume book of it. So, and my dog also chewed it. So let's ignore that. But the first volume book I think is yellow, and it's How to Build Network Marketing Leaders. See how this one says volume 2? Well, y'all are going to want to start with volume 1. If you are, I was also struggling because I know how to lead. Like, I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm always learning. But I was really struggling on how to develop other leaders. Okay? Like, other than leading by example and meeting with them, like, how do I make someone a leader? Like, if they want it, how do I develop them? And I, like many of you, had wasted a lot of my time building, making placements, and developing people that effing sucked at leadership. And they just were selfish and not good people innately and didn't want to lead and didn't want to show up, or work through hardships. And I would waste so much time. Well, the first book, this is by Tom, he goes by Big Al Schreider? Tom Big Al Schreider, How to Build Network Marketing Leaders. Go with volume 1 first. I'm right in the middle of this one now in volume 2. I still think I like volume 1 better. It blew my mind. I was like, dear God, I wish I had read this so much sooner. He really knows direct sales. He really knows network marketing structure. A really good, no BS content. If you're a leader, you need to read that book. Trust. All right. Trust. I also read this one, which is, 50 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be Persuasive. Wasn't a huge fan, but being persuasive isn't an issue for me. But this is a topic where if you guys are if you're struggling to make sales, look it up. Like, go through and be like, there's you could literally Google search books on selling, books on persuasion, books on, closing a deal. Like, literally start researching those things. Didn't make it all the way through this one. I'm just going to be real honest with you. I really like this one. It's called Boss Up. It was given to me as a gift. It is by a gal that started her own business. She started small. She had experience in network marketing. I do love learning from other people that have come before me and have done it. And I love her techniques on branding and how she puts herself out there, how she portrays the business, her personal experiences with failure. If you want to be the best, you have to learn from people that are the best. So I really, really liked this. This was a fun read. Like, I remember reading this in the bathtub and really enjoying it. It's called Boss Up by Lindsay Teague Moreno. All right, next up. Uh-oh, I did something on my computer. This one, if you guys are a leader, this one's going to change the game for you. It is called F Leadership. Now, it sounds kind of contradictory, right? Well, I heard about this book because this guy's podcast, his name is Josh Coates. His podcast is amazing. It's called Your Push Coach with Josh Coates. So the podcast is called The Push Coach. That's what he calls himself. Sounds like having a baby. I don't know why. But this book, game changer. You can also go online to, I don't know what his website is, just Google search Josh Coates, and you can get the entire audiobook for free, which is what I listened to first. I actually downloaded the audiobook, blew my mind. I had to listen to it 2 times. Then I had to go out and spend the money and buy the book. It was that good. If you're ever frustrated with, network marketing, with enrolling people and they drop off, like, why can't, she has so much potential, why isn't she working? How do I get people to want to work this business? There's so much money and potential to be made. This book covers communication styles, stats, who's likely to work the business, who isn't. It's really like up my alley. This F Leadership book, How to Motivate and Mentor Your Team to True Success. I really, really enjoyed it, and it gave me a whole different perspective that no one's talking about in direct sales. All right, I have, oh no, that's not it. Okay, a few other things I want to talk about. I remember when we talked about how I needed to learn coaching. I'm very socially awkward. I'm an introvert by nature, and I tend to talk because I'm nervous and uncomfortable. And now I'm comfortable asking the questions because I'm reading books. My default was to just talk a lot. Talk about me, my personal stories, and be funny. I'm very funny. But I wasn't comfortable with silent pauses. I wasn't comfortable asking and listening to people, and I wasn't listening with intention. The only time I would listen was to listen so I could freaking get a reply in. And we all know from reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, like, that's not going to make people like you. The most likable people are the best listeners. So I knew it was a personal thing that I wanted to work on, and it wasn't specifically related to Color Street, but it is, okay? Like, if I want to be a good leader and charismatic, and I want to win people over, and I want people to like me, I need to be a good human. And so this book actually was a sleeper. I wasn't expecting to love this book. Amazing. It's called How to Listen with Intention, the foundation of true connection, communication, and relationships. You guys, this business that we're doing is a relationship business. Our teams, our VIPs, building new networks. You have got to learn how to listen with intention. And this gives you, I love data. I want it, like, give me numbers, give me science, give me the science behind why this is important in droves. A really cool science on listening and human interaction and social interaction. Read it. If you are, and I try to tell my team this all the time. I have people on my team, they're like, I don't know why my team's struggling. And I'm like, it's because, like, you just talk nonstop about yourself. I can't say that, but I can always recommend this book. And so really think, like, if you're in a social situation, are you talking more than 50% of the time? And when you listen, are you really just kick back, not even thinking about your response, just listening to understand? Are you really listening, or are you listening to reply? And this really brought into focus what I was doing wrong. And it's a conscious effort on my part to be better, but this has really brought it into focus for me. Next up, this one is great. It's called, I love this one. Everyone needs to read this, especially if you're a leader. This is called The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. He also wrote a book called The Talent Code, which I have started listening to as well, an audiobook. It's called The Secrets of Highly Successful Groups. The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. I wanted a high function. I know how to be a leader and how to build my business. I built a successful business. I was top of sales, top of enrolling. How do I trickle that down? And how do I have a really, it was during COVID. And like, I can't meet people in person. Half of my team is all over the United States. How do I have a really well functioning, cohesive group? How do I lead people from different backgrounds, different age groups, people that I can't connect with and hug in person? How do I lead them and how do we feel connected? This book gives you so much science, has so many different case studies of the best functioning groups and why. Human, like biology. You guys, this book is a game changer if you're in a group dynamic, which we all are, okay? We are one big family in Color Street, but especially your smaller groups, like, it's a family. You cannot do this alone. You don't want to do it alone. You've got to depend on your people. You've got to love on your people, and people will stay where they feel cared for and connected. That's the thing. People really need to be connected to something, and it's our job to really build up a team culture. So this is a huge one. Definitely, I have listened to it on audiobook. I've read it several times. I made my husband read it. I just love it because it is science. I hate when books are just opinions of people. Like, I want to know the science. Why is this necessary? Why does this work? So I really like that one. A few things that I have purchased. Okay, this is another one. I was really struggling with self-discipline, especially with like time blocking, spending money, the concepts that Brian Tracy talks about, eat that frog, like doing the hard things first. So I did buy this book. It's called The Science of Self-Discipline because it was another area. Like you guys are saying, you're struggling in areas. I literally just know that I struggle in these areas, and I go and like Google search self-discipline, books about self-discipline, blah, blah, blah. You guys, there's so many things out there on how to hit your goals, how to set goals, how to achieve the things that you want in life. And it's literally, you can train your brain. And this talks about how you can train your brain to be disciplined. So good. All right. Some other ones that I really like is Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. Let's see, there's a few other ones that I have in here too. Hold on. All right, this one is the godfather, where'd it go, of all leadership books, in my opinion. John C. Maxwell, he's the man. He's the grandfather of all leadership. This is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. This I reference often. I have multiples of this book. I reference it often. Like, if you want to be a good leader that is respected and looked up to, this book is one of the most relevant leadership books you're ever going to read. Ever. You're going to quote it. You're going to use it in your posts. You're going to use it with your team. This is good stuff. This is like the leadership Bible. All right? Especially if you're new to leadership, you don't have to be a natural born leader, but you do need to commit to educating yourself and learning how to be a good leader. It's not going to happen naturally. You're going to have to put in work, especially with leading. Now, I don't struggle with sales. I do great with selling. Selling comes naturally to me because, again, my dad made me read this when I was 18 years old. I was a bartender, and then I worked in law enforcement. I knew how to sell myself. I was really struggling with how to lead a large group of women. I'd worked with almost all men. I was brash. I was blunt. This has really helped me to change the dynamics of my leadership. All right, a few other ones, and then we'll I'll jump off here. I really love Catapulting Commissions. If selling is where you want to have your area of expertise in, this is a great book by Anthony Garcia. It's called Catapulting Commissions, Achieve Your Next Sales Goal. He's a sales guru. He's a coach for Forbes. He's a big deal. But I love it because he actually got his start in direct sales with Cutco, cutlery. So he has the background in direct sales. He knows what he's talking about. I love the portion in the back where he talks about goal setting and having smarter goals and how to set them and achieve them. I love his emotional connections and how he feels that selling needs to provide value and it needs to provide a service to others. Like, that speaks right to my heart. You guys know that. This is a great book if selling is where you're struggling. Maybe you're leading is your jam. Maybe you're really struggling to sell. This is going to be a great one for you. Side note, I am excited. I have been in contact with the author of this book, and he's going to be doing a regional training here in Central California for anyone in Color Street. We're going to cap it at about 200 people, but he's going to be doing a goal setting workshop for us because his book was so good. I actually bought the workbook and then I contacted him, and I'm so excited for that. So hit me up if you're in California. I want to come. A few other ones. I have not read this one yet, but these are on my to-read list. I have a few more that I have. This is Weekly Habits for Extraordinary Leaders. It got really good ratings, and so I don't know, it's on my list. I haven't been there yet. Also in sales, if you struggle in sales, this one got a ton of good reviews. This is the guy that was the actual Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, and why, he ended up with a really sad story because he went, blew all of his money and did illegal stuff, but he was a selling guru. And he talks about his system, and everyone that reviewed this, they're like, dude, his system works. It just freaking works. Like, do what he says. And so he talks about how he developed his sales system and how he developed the confidence to talk to people and how to go for the ask, all the little systems that he had in place because he ran his whole business by phone. And a lot of what we do is now not in person. So this is really relevant stuff that I cannot wait to read. Just his personal story too. And then last on my list, I have a few others. I really like this guy's podcast. His name's Patrick Bet David, but I wasn't impressed with the book. I bought a bunch of it, so I have another one if anybody wants it. But I felt like it was just very much him talking about himself and him talking about how he worked 18-hour days and how hard he had to work to get to where he is. And I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. Like, I'm not going to work 18-hour days. So I didn't really find this something that I connected to personally. But I tried it. Not every book you're going to try is going to be something that is impactful to you. This one, I got great reviews, and it's called Extreme Ownership, How the U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. Now, if you want to grow, you cannot just be looking at Color Street, and you cannot just be looking at sales. I love seeing how people lead all over the world, and there are nuggets and things that you can pull from and learn from leadership all over the world. And so I love reading books like this because I'm like, wow, strong leader. Oh my gosh, that's so diplomatic of them. Wow, what a great idea. And I pull it into my business and I take it for my own. So this is next on my list. But what made me buy this was a book that actually the sheriff's office made me read. I took a big year-long leadership course, and it's called It's Your Ship. The name of the book is called It's Your Ship. It's by Captain Michael something. And it was about how he took the worst ship in the Navy, the worst fleet in the Navy, and through leadership and talking to his people and asking for their opinions and involving them, he actually turned it into the most lucrative and successful fleet of Navy ships ever. And It's Your Ship, whereas it sounds like it's a military book, it is not. It's actually a leadership book, and you would love it. I love the whole story, and I couldn't read it fast enough. So that's what, when I saw this one, I was like, I love Navy leadership books. I'm going to read it. And they actually talk about the Navy SEALs and their exceptional cohesiveness as a group in Culture Code too. So I don't know what the Navy's doing, but it's clearly something's working there. Okay, so those are my books. I do have a few podcasts I'll share for you as well. I like podcasts because I can pop them on in the car as I'm driving to get the kids. I can listen to them in the bath, whatever. Audiobooks are great for some people. Some people like audiobooks. I really will get an audiobook, listen to it to enjoy it, and then I have to sit down and read it in print. I have to highlight. I'm a visual learner, so audiobooks are great, but I still have to read the book. I'll do too. If you're an auditory learner, audiobooks are going to work great for you. I love podcasts because I can enjoy them, I can get value, but I usually will have to buy their books as well, just like I did with Josh Coates. My first and favorite podcast right now is let's see, what's her name? It's called Purposeful Social Selling. Her name's Kristen Boss. B-O-S-S, Kristen Boss. Oh my God, you guys. It is going to change the way you view selling. You're not going to feel spammy anymore. It's not going to be the hey girl creepy messages. It is about selling as a place of love and service and giving back to other people and helping them, and dude, she's magic. I didn't want to like her because at first I was like, God, there's something annoying about her voice. Obsessed with her. The best podcast and best information on selling and developing a sustainable business long term. by far. The Purposeful Social Selling by Kristen Voss. Amazing. Another podcast that I love is called Rob Dial, The Mindset Mentor. Especially when you get to leadership, a lot of what you're dealing with is mindset. Can you overcome these things? Or if your mindset isn't tuned in right, you can't overcome obstacles. But a person with the right mindset can. And I really love his concept. He talks a lot about goal setting. He talks a lot about mindset. And I like his earlier podcast. So the stuff he does now is more like interviews. But if you scroll all the way back to his early podcast, that stuff is exceptional. Exceptional for us, especially in what we do here. And then last, I have two more. Josh Coates' podcast. He's not everyone's style. There are going to be cuss words. He's very no nonsense, no BS, but he definitely has a system that works. And it's very useful if you have a team that they're not putting in work, or you don't know how to motivate them. And I love that he does live coaching calls. So I have learned a lot on how to coach by listening to his coaching podcast. Not all of his podcasts is coaching calls, but he allows people to call in and he walks them through like a virtual coaching session. And I'm like, genius. And I get so many ideas on how to help my people just by listening to his podcast coaching. So that is there. That's an option. And then last, my guy, Anthony Garcia, the Catapulting Commissions. He also has a podcast. And I like it because he interviews a lot of different people across all sales industries. So he'll have somebody with, a bazillion $1 million business. He'll have a mom and pop shop come and talk sales. He'll have people, that are in charge of 1 million employees. He'll have somebody that's just starting off. And so he has so much knowledge, but I really like that I'm going to tune in and learn about all different aspects of sales. And his podcast is called Catapulting Commissions, Sales Talk with Anthony Garcia. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you read any of the books that I talked about today, please give me comments, give me feedback. Let me know in the comments below. I will also be posting this to YouTube, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe or like. But thanks for having me, and thanks for your interest. Get out there and learn some things. Educate yourself, okay? We don't have to just wait for Color Street to send us all the information. You can go out and you know what you're struggling in, and you can start learning those things now, and then trickling that down to your team. Bye, guys. Have a great Wednesday.